as we make way for one of the great shooters of all time, Hall of Famer Reggie Miller. Did you watch last night?
I did. Reluctantly, yes, I watched. I will say this. If I was not coming on the show this morning, I doubt I would have watched last night. Not saying I would not have watched, let's say, today at some point, but I probably would not have watched last night because
It's a homework assignment.
it was because I wanted to know, follow along what you were going to ask me, but also I don't want people to think, why is he hating? I'm not hating because it's more out of hurtful respect. Because for those of us who were called by Central Casting to be in this movie versus the Bulls in the 90s, we lived it. I lived it. So I don't need to actually see it. Now, there were some things that, because they had a camera crew following them, there were certain things that you did not know because, Jordan's been sitting on this footage for, 25, 30 years. You did not know. But for those of us who actually lived it and played against him and were, trying to compete with them, I didn't need to watch the doc to know. It brought back a lot of those good and bad memories of going against that dude.
Were you interviewed for this?
Again, reluctantly, yes. I tried to fight it. I actually did. I didn't
Reg,
want to do it.
You know that Michael had to approve everybody who was going to be interviewed, and so he had to approve that you were
correct.
Right?
Correct.
Yeah?
Correct. And I wasn't going to do it, and I fought it, and I wasn't going to do it, and I had everyone from the league office saying you need to be a part of this, and everyone at Turner telling me I needed to be a part of this. I was like, no, go, no, go, no. I don't need to be a part of it. And then I was like, look, maybe it was a healing part of it too, to talk about, I don't want people to think that it was some big rivalry, because a rivalry to me is we are on equal footing. I was never on equal footing with MJ, okay? But I loved the battles. And I know a lot of players that I played against, they would bow down to him. And that just was not going to be me. It was not in my nature to do that. So maybe I was hard-headed. Maybe I should have bowed down to him. But it was good to talk about it in some of those times to help myself move on, Theodore.
Yeah, I'm surprised to hear that. But that maybe you needed to move on. It was cathartic in a way. Like you've been holding you may not have liked him, but you certainly respected him. But did you learn anything new about this as you went through the process?
Well, it's funny because on this show, you and I, since I think I've been on the show 5, 6, 7 years, maybe even longer, and I've stated he is the GOAT. He's the greatest player of all time. I mince no words about that. I talked about him and Kobe, and him and LeBron. To me, they're not even in the same breath or league. But it's funny, when you hear about the whole Jerry Krause and blowing up the team, people need to understand he put the team together too.
Yeah,
he put that championship team together. Now he blew it up. But it just shows you, and I hope the younger generation understands this, because I tried to use some of that material while we played, especially on Scotty, subtly at free throw lines. Man, I can't believe they're trying to get rid of you, dude. Are you kidding? I would use a little bit of that during the game. But it goes to show you how strong MJ mentally was. I mean, you've won 5 championships, and you've got all this on your shoulders. This dude was so mentally strong and focused, you couldn't crack him. You just couldn't crack him.
But, you're very competitive, obviously, and so is he, and you knew that there was going to be a moment where this would come to a head.
Yes. And I think a part of it, maybe he was trying to tell. Look, it didn't matter. I just knew. I knew that we were going to be on the collision course. I just, how my nature is, and it's hard for me to hold my tongue. And I think being baptized during the summers, during my UCLA days by Magic and Michael Cooper and Byron Scott telling me never to back down, always take 2 steps forward, and being a young kid and very impressionable, never help anyone up. You never bow down. You never do that. I don't care who the man is in front of you. And I just could never hold my tongue. And being in our arena and having our fans cheer for him, it burned me. It I don't know. There was a rage inside of me, and it made me want to be better. That's what MJ did. He made other people want to. It just made me want to be better because you wanted to be on his same footing, which was never going to happen for a player like me. But in my head, I thought so.
I tell people that I was in Atlanta at a Hawks game, and it felt like 80% of the Omni was there rooting for the Bulls. They were just like, I don't know if we'll ever have a team where it feels like everybody was fascinated by them, loved them, couldn't wait for them to get to town, even if it meant beating your team. What was it about the Bulls that we saw that we'll probably never see again?
And if you look at the episode when they're in France, I think the late commissioner kind of echoed that, right? That's why I think it was going to be so hard to ever beat them, because they were going to get every benefit of the doubt calls because they were the team. You were going to have to truly beat the Bulls. It wasn't going to be happen chance. It wasn't going to be them. You had to beat MJ and Scotty and Dennis. And I think the commissioner's words echoed that because they were the team. They were our cash cow. And when they came into Old Market Square Arena, and again, we're only 2.5, 3 hours drive apart, so close proximity between Indianapolis, and obviously playing in Chicago. So a lot of their fans could drive up to games, buy our tickets, our good seats, and cheer for them. So not until we started to get good while he was playing baseball in 93, 94, and on, once we started to get a great home base because we started to win and we started to see success and our fans started to rally and get behind that. So then once we played them during the playoffs, it was more 80% fans for us and 20% fans, as opposed to it being, as you mentioned, 60-40 them, 70-30 them. So by the time we started winning, our fan base had changed because we wanted to beat MJ. We wanted to be that team.
Talking to Reggie Miller, the Hall of Famer, Turner Sports NBA analyst, and one of the great shooters in the history of the game. Speaking of which, would you have rather have had Pippen on you or Jordan on you?
I've had them both. I would much rather have MJ on me because MJ, no offense, he liked to take great defender. Don't get me wrong, unbelievable, probably one of the best on-ball defenders ever. But I stayed in motion. So I never stopped moving, and I knew that he wanted to exert a lot of energy at the offensive end, and it was my job to take a little bit of steam out those legs. So I knew that he would always take corners by not locking and trailing me. He would always try to go over the screens.
He was playing the passing lanes.
He was playing the passing lanes all the time because he didn't want to exert that energy of staying with me and being in a marathon all game so I could get clean looks. Scotty was much taller, longer, and stuck to the principles, though he didn't guard me a lot because back then you guarded your man. You had to guard MJ. MJ had to guard you. There wasn't a lot of switching and all that. Though you could ask my good friend Mark Jackson how it feels to have Scottie Pippen on him because during that 7-game series, Phil put Scotty on Michael, and that changed, or Scotty put on Mark, and that changed the complexity of that series because it took, 12 to 14 seconds just to get the ball up the court, and we couldn't even get into our offense quickly. So that would be a better question for Mark Jackson than it would be for me.
When you first heard that Michael was going to leave and go play baseball, what was your reaction?
Ding dong, the witch is dead, the witch is dead, the witch is dead. I was shocked. Obviously, it opened up not only my career and the Pacers because we took off, but, people question, does Houston get those 2 rings if MJ doesn't, go bat 205, right?
Do you think?
I will say this. Olajuwon was a handful. I don't know. We'll never know. I'm going to give them respect. They won back-to-back championships, and let's leave it at that.
But Reg, I also was thinking about this with the draft. And, you drafted for positions back then. Portland needed a big man. Then Akeem goes to the Rockets, and then Mike goes to the Bulls. They don't take Mike because they have Clyde Drexler. But in today's NBA, you'd go, hey.
Best player available.
Yes.
And he may have gone one. He may have gone. If you're drafting today, though it had been hard to pass up at the time Akeem Olajuwon, now Hakeem Olajuwon.
Yeah.
Because to me, he's one of the top 7 or 8 players ever, Hakeem.
Yeah.
So, but at the time, Sam Bowie was the correct call. Out of Kentucky, a big man, could stretch the floor, could shoot, could rebound. No one saw the injuries that he went through, and ended up having a solid career, not great, but obviously he didn't live up to the name in Portland. But I believe he played pretty well when he was in New Jersey, when he got traded there, and had a serviceable career, but didn't have the Jordan-like career.
But nobody knew that Mike was going to be Mike. I mean, he hit the jumper, win a national title, but, in fairness to some of these other GMs, Rod Thorne of the Bulls, he didn't know that Mike was going to be Mike. If you redrafted, then Mike's going to go number 1, obviously. But, at the time, Akeem was a better college player. Patrick Ewing was a better college player. You had guys who were better than Michael, in my opinion. We just didn't know that Mike was going to explode and be something that we hadn't seen before. When did you first get your first in-person? Because here you are already in the league. And, so the first time around you're hearing, hey, Jordan, man, he's a bad dude, man. You're like, okay, right.
Well, I got it early, even before he got, it may have been his rookie year. There was, at the time, there was an exhibition between UCLA and North Carolina, the alums, as well as the current players. And we played this game in Pauley Pavilion. And I saw it somewhere. Someone has footage of this. And this was the actual first time that I got a chance to go against him. And I believe I was still a senior at UCLA. And it might have been his first or second year in the league. And I remember Kenny Smith being there and a lot of the Carolina greats versus the UCLA greats, old and new. And having a chance to, lock horns with him. And I remember Coach Hazard was coaching our team, and he just kept putting me on him. Go at him, go at him, go at him. And I was like, I don't know if I want to go at him, at him. But you knew. And it's funny because you and I, we know MJ intimately. And it's funny looking at some of those old clips right when he was drafted and hearing him, because he didn't know. He was like, I hope to come in and, change the complexity of the Bull. Like how he talks now and how he talked then, because as you mentioned, no one knew. No one knew, and he didn't know. But he quickly turned everything and the fortunes of that franchise very quickly.
When Jordan comes back from baseball, his first game was at Indy against you guys, right? You guys won.
Oh, man.
You guys won that game.
Yes, we did. And I was so amped because, first of all, that's balling. Because usually most guys they're going to wait to play a home game and be in their normal surroundings. This dude wants to do it on the road, right? And do it against us. If we were, since he had left, us in New York, we were the team. So I'm like, okay, it's about let's do this.
Wow.
He's back.
Wow.
So we were excited. We were up for it.
What would you say if you sat down with him? Like, let's say we went to dinner, and then you see MJ.
I might punch him.
No, you.
I don't know. Again.
Are you being serious? Are you that? Would you be? You would have different emotions.
Man, there was a lot of stuff being thrown back and forth. I respect the heck out of that dude. The greatest. I mean, he's the greatest, but.
But what's the one thing he said that you can't let go? Can you tell me?
It's not so. It's just. It just hurts because when you feel. I just felt we should have ended them in '97, that season. The one that, they had the crew. I felt we were the better team. And it just pains me and hurts. It hurts me. So it's not so much bitter or animosity towards him.
But he didn't say things to you, did he?
Look, I don't kiss and tell.
Okay.
I've never been that type of player. I'm not going to kiss and tell.
Okay.
There's a lot of things said on the hard floor, and I've said a lot of things. At times, maybe I, regret.
But mean-spirited stuff. But mean-spirited.
It could be funny, but I don't care. You're not going to hurt my feelings. I'm trying to hurt your feelings. So you're not going to hurt my feelings.
But did you get personal?
Yes.
Did he get personal?
Yes.
How personal?
And there's nothing wrong with that. But you got to remember, I've kind of known MJ even back to the Sherrill days because they were both Naismith Award winners, and they went to the bank together, and I was there. So I didn't know him, but, he was there with my sister. So I kind of knew. And it's funny because people, he comes out and says, I'm scared that people are going to think I'm they're going to get a bad image of me after they see, I'm like, dude, we already know who you are.
And you know what? The timing of this, Reg, I keep thinking, this was LeBron's year. He could win a title with the Lakers, third different franchise. And then all of a sudden, here's the reminder, LeBron, it doesn't matter what you do. This is going to reinforce it even more where we're going to go, how was this ever a debate is probably how people are going to react after this documentary.
And everyone is locked at home. I mean, this dropped at the – look, we're in the middle of a pandemic. People are locked in their homes, nothing but the remotes and TV, and they are publicizing the heck out of this. You are 100% correct. This is a reminder to the younger generation, y'all must have forgot.
Are you going to watch next Sunday?
Am I coming on Monday?
Hell yeah, go ahead. Join us next.
Now I'm in because I like the cliffhanger that they left us with the whole Scotty. First of all, Scotty, I hope you're that upset with your agent. And I get it that you took the money and it's admirable taking care of the family because that comes first, taking care of family responsibilities. But hey, Scotty, if the owner tells you it's a bad deal and I wouldn't take it, safe to say don't take the deal. Don't come crying back to me a few years later wanting more money. He told you it was a bad deal.
You got a problem with Scotty too or just Michael?
No. I love Scotty.
Okay. And Rodman, okay with Rodman?
Absolutely love Rod. I love MJ. I do.
Yeah, but you could punch him. But you could punch him. You wouldn't punch Kukoc or Rodman.
No, I would not punch Rodman. I would not punch because Scotty and I are the same draft, and we were on the '96 Olympic team. Nothing but love for Scotty. I have nothing but love for MJ. It's just two guards, shooting guards. We're locked up. We're holding. We're hitting. We're punching, and we're just talking to one another.
No, this is what made you who you are. That you didn't. He deep down, and I don't know what he says in the documentary, but if you didn't walk towards him, then I think he would disrespect you. I think the fact that you did it.
I think he's still probably going to disrespect me. I don't know what he said about me. I don't know how they framed it.
But he's not going to be like Isaiah, though.
Nor do I care. I'm just letting people know. Nor do I care what he said about me, if it's good or bad.
What about Isaiah, man? He's still that'll never go. His feelings for or lack thereof of Isaiah.
That's real.
And vice versa, I'm guessing.
That's real. That's real. But it was fun, wasn't it? Theodore, you and I were in the middle of it.
I was knee deep in that, man.
We loved it. This was
deep
real.
in that. Knee deep
Everyone
in that.
now, buddy. Hey, let's go. Hey, let's play AAU together. Come on, man. Be on my Instagram, FaceTime chat. Come on, dude. Let's hang out. You think I'm trying to get MJ on an Instagram Live? Are you kidding me? Come on, man.
Talk to you soon.
I love you, brother. I love you, Theodore.
My best to the
been
family.
a while.
Yeah, I know.
I know the Danettes are all spread out. I miss you, Danettes. I miss being on this show, man. I miss you, man.
We'll talk soon. Thank you, Reg.
You got it.
That's Reggie Aloysius Miller Jr. III.